A bipartisan bill aimed at curbing the state-sanctioned crime of forced organ harvesting against prisoners of conscience in China has been introduced in the U.S. Senate. The bill shines a light on the crimes against humanity committed by the Chinese regime as its rule faces threats both internally and externally. Internal power struggles and purges have reportedly destabilized the Chinese Communist Party. Meanwhile, the war in Iran hampers critical oil supplies and a key ally, the Iranian regime. Joining us now is Ambassador Sam Beraunbach. He's the co-chair of the International Religious Freedom Summit and former U.S. Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom. Ambassador, thank you so much for joining us today. It's always a pleasure. So, as you're aware, NTD News has been covering the Chinese regime's human rights abuses for decades now, of course, including its practice of live forced organ harvesting against prisoners of conscience like Falun Gong adherents, as well as Uyghur Muslims. So I want to ask you, Ambassador, why is a bill like this so important? And why is it so important now more than ever?
Well, first, I'd like to thank NTD for covering this when other people weren't, and still covering it and staying really on point with this. I just think that's critical, the information that you're putting out. This is a key time for us in our confrontation with the CCP. The Chinese Communist Party is seeking to run the world. They've got an alliance built up. We're at war with one of their allies right now in Iran. And I think we've got to continue to confront them, and particularly in the moral area of what they do. And things like forced organ harvesting, which is just a diabolical thing, need to be brought to the light, shown to the American public and to the world that this is a regime in China that's actually willing to do something so horrific it's almost unimaginable. And that's why I think these are important, that the bill's coming forth in a bipartisan way, and that there's even a book just out. I did the foreword on it about the forced organ harvesting. These are things that are key to bring forward.
So you said it's diabolical, live organ harvesting. I just want you to spell it out for us simply. What does this say about the nature of the Chinese regime, the Chinese Communist Party, and its regard for humanity?
It means it's a commodity. It means it's a commodity to be bought and sold by a regime that looks at the people in the country that it doesn't like as somebody that they can sell their parts, their organs. For most people, their consciousness of that, it is so evil that they look at it and they can hardly believe that this would actually take place. And so what people tend to do is just kind of put it off to the side and say no. But that's why it's got to be surfaced and continue to be put in front of the American public, because it reveals the nature of the regime. Ronald Reagan talked about the Soviet Union and the godless communists there and what they did to the Jewish refuseniks. What we're talking about here is a same communist, anti-God, godless ideology, and what they're willing to do to a group, religious adherents that they disagree with. This is horrific. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be pushed. And it needs to showcase what the CCP actually is and what they're willing to do.